these are unprecedented times for everyone, you know. And here in the UK, we're desperate to get back to Orlando for our holidays. We're not sure when that will be. But how important is the UK tourism trade to Orlando and specifically to your hotels, Harris?
Without the UK market, we don't exist. It is the strongest market we have. Let me tell you something really interesting. I celebrated my birthday yesterday. My daughter asked me, Dad, how many birthday wishes did you get on your phone? I counted them, 65. She said, Dad, how many Facebook wishes do you think you received? Well, I'm a dinosaur. I don't do Facebook. I had no idea what she was talking about. She came over to my house last night, sat down with me and said, Dad, I'm going to start reading all of the greetings on Facebook. After an hour, her throat was sore. She said, Dad, there are over 1,000 greetings. And what was so amazing to me was that about a third of them were from the UK.
Oh, that's great.
The most amazing, kind, beautiful comments. Mr. Rosen, we know things are tough now. We can't wait to get back to one of your hotels where we've been coming for 10, 20, 30 years. It was so heartwarming. It was so wonderful. It brought tears to my eyes that my British friends, who I've considered to be friends, not just guests, cared enough to leave me a beautiful birthday greeting. And so, yes, the British market is critical. And we hope and we pray that within the next few months, the Brits will say, we can come to Orlando again. We don't have to quarantine. We love Orlando and we can't wait to return. That's what I'm hoping and praying for.
Well, that's certainly what we are hoping and praying for as well. I mean, as it stands, I think that's the uncertainty of not knowing any kind of date whatsoever when any kind of normality could return for us, for everyone, you know. So it really is an unprecedented times. I mean, talking about when the Rosen hotels reopened after the coronavirus closures, OrlandoHalls.com actually covered a little story about the international opening again. And we noticed on social media, on Facebook especially, how much love there was felt from the people of Orlando towards yourself and towards your philanthropy work. And it was then that I was made aware just to the extent of your philanthropy work. And I hope that you could tell us a little bit about the causes in your life that are dear to your heart with that nature of work.
So growing up in the neighborhood I did taught me all about what underserved communities are about. If you saw a photograph of the apartment house I lived in, you would understand what I'm saying. On the other hand, it taught me not to forget those who live in neighborhoods like the one I grew up in and who need a helping hand. So about 28 years ago, sitting at my desk in this office, suddenly I heard a voice and it said, Harris, you've been blessed. Look at where you are now. You must offer a helping hand to those in need. I said, okay, to myself. I wanted to do something that had to do with education because I know what education did for me and my brother. And so I called in a couple of dear friends, an early childhood expert and the principal of one of the top high schools here in Central Florida. And I said, guys, I want to do something that has to do with education. It was Sarah and Bill. Do I offer scholarships to college? And Bill said, yes. And Sarah said, but Harris, it's important for these youngsters in the underserved communities to start school at 2 years old, preschool, because they will have a head start. And when they start kindergarten, they'll be way ahead of the other children. And it will give them an advantage, something they don't have now. So I said, so do I have a program that offers preschool and then college? And they both agreed. And they smiled and they hugged me. And I said to myself, now I have to find a neighborhood. I called a dear friend of mine who was a county commissioner, Mabel Butler. I said, Mabel, I have an idea, but I need a neighborhood, an underserved community, one that needs help, one that has crime and drugs and where high school graduation rates are terrible. She said, I'll be right over. She drove me to Tangelo Park. She introduced me to the principal of the elementary school. I shared with him what I had in mind. He said, Harris, would you like to discuss this idea with the neighborhood? I said, oh my God, that'd be wonderful. He said, I will call the neighborhood together. We'll let them meet in the school auditorium and you can present your idea. I said, wonderful. He said to me, though, while you're here, would you like to say hello to the students? I said, of course. And so he got them together. And I introduced myself and I said, hi, guys. Everybody doing okay? Yes. I said, I have a question. How many of you would like to go to college? Much to my disappointment, only one or two hands went up. I turned to the principal, Dr. Allen, and I said, why? They have no hope for higher education. They can't afford it. And few of them will graduate from high school. I said, oh, that's so sad. Anyway, a couple of days later, I met all of the neighbors and I shared my program with them. They didn't believe me. I said, I'm not feeling the love. What is it that is concerning you? Well, no one has ever said this to us before. Why should we believe you? And if we have a child starting preschool before he goes to college, it's another 15 years. Do we have to wait that long? I said, no. If you have a child now in high school, a senior in high school, and he or she is accepted to college, I will pay everything, not only college, but community college and any trade school. I'll pay it all. They looked at each other and shook their heads. I said, please believe me. Look at my business and you see that I'm successful and I want to give back. Well, that was the beginning. The challenge initially was, where do we build a preschool? We couldn't on the property. It was mostly single-family residence, small homes that people lived in. So I had an idea. I said, can I meet with some of the homeowners? I have an idea. Yes, you can. I met with about 15 of them. I said, I want to create a preschool in some of your homes. I'll pay for all of the construction that has to go on. I'll pay for all of the materials, anything that we need, computers, anything, I will pay for it. Would any of you here mind talking to me about it? All of the hands went up. And that's how we started. Started with 6 homes, and each of the ladies who lived in the homes was asked if they wanted to be certified as a certified caregiver, and they would take care of 6 youngsters. We would prepare the curriculum. We would make sure that all of the equipment, all of the supplies, all of the books were available. And so within a short period of time, we had 6 little preschools in the neighborhood. And I visited the children, and I was so happy. And they were so happy. And the homeowners were so happy. And the parents were so happy. And that was the beginning of the Tangelo Park program. High school graduation rates back then were running at about 45%. Today, 100% graduation from high school.
Wow.
Very, very few youngsters were going to trade school or community college or college. Today, almost every youngster who graduates from high school is going to either trade school, community college, or college. Graduation rates in 4 years from college, almost 80%. Unheard of. And so crime in the neighborhood down almost 80%. The neighborhood has been transformed into a little paradise. No more crime, no more drugs. Children starting school at 2, moving through elementary school and middle school and high school. We discovered that if a child graduates from high school, he or she will earn over his or her lifetime an additional $500,000. If they move on and graduate from trade school or community college or 4-year college, add another $500,000. That's $1 million more in a lifetime for kids in that neighborhood who are graduating from high school and college. The program has been hugely successful. We've been doing it now for 28 years. About 5 years ago, we were so disappointed that all of the people we spoke with, some of them very wealthy, some of them well-known, never did any of them decide to replicate the program. We were heartbroken, couldn't understand why, so we decided to adopt another neighborhood here in Central Florida, the Paramore neighborhood. We've been doing it now for almost 5 years. Free preschool, free trade school, free community college, and free college. High school graduation rates have soared. College acceptances have soared. And so we are hoping and praying that others might look at what we've accomplished over 28 years and now over almost 5 years and may say, we want to do that ourselves. We believe that if every underserved community in America would have a Tangelo Park or a Paramore program, we wouldn't recognize the United States of America. We would change for the better by so much that people would say, is this America? No poverty? Children in underserved communities going to college? Yes, that's what our dream is. That's what our dream is. Will I see that happen in my lifetime? Sadly, I don't think so. But will others look at what we've done and hope that they can change their community for the better? That's my hope and my prayer. I hope so, Danny.
It's just incredible to listen to you talk about it. So passionate. Such an amazing thing that you've achieved with your success. And there's for me, what better way is there to put your success to great use by this almost like an outreach program, and you've changed so many people's lives. It's just fantastic. I suppose, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today. I know time's getting on, but just one final question for you, Harris. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that there'll be a movie of your life one day, and I would love to know, who would you like to see play Harris Rosen in the movie?
Nobody will make a movie. But anyway, I knew you were going to ask that question, so I did a little homework.
Okay.
The person, Paul Newman.
Great choice.
Why? This is it. Paul was an amazing philanthropist. He did so much. In fact, he created a canned food business, and every penny of that goes to charity. Also, Newman's parents came from Hungary and from Germany. Similar to my family. He's also a Jewish fellow. I am also. And he also served in the military. He was a gunner on a bomber.
Yeah.
So I said he would be perfect. And so, yes, Paul Newman would be wonderful if he was still alive. And I would be honored if he ever had been able to be me. Of course, that's impossible, but it was an interesting question, and I did some research and found the perfect person.
Well, whoever took on the role, Harris, would certainly have big boots to fill. That's for sure. I just want to thank you again for taking the time for speaking to us here in the UK. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again in the future.
It was a pleasure, and the questions were wonderful. And thank you so much, and God bless you.